In a realm shrouded by darkness, where shadows danced to the tune of forbidden magic, there lived a sorcerer named Malakai. His heart, once pure and filled with wonder, had been corrupted by an insatiable hunger for power. The ancient tomes of dark magic whispered to him, promising untold strength and dominion over all living creatures. Malakai's tower, a twisted spire that pierced the gloomy skies, stood as a testament to his growing influence. Within its walls, the sorcerer toiled endlessly, poring over cryptic texts and performing unspeakable rituals. The tower's very foundations pulsed with an eerie, palpable energy, as if the structure itself were alive and thrumming with malevolent intent. As Malakai's power grew, so did his ambition. He began to seek out the rarest and most powerful magical creatures, determined to bend them to his will. From the enchanted forest to the deepest caverns, he scoured the land, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. The once vibrant countryside now lay barren and lifeless, drained of its magic by the sorcerer's relentless pursuit. Whispers of Malakai's cruelty spread throughout the realm, carried on the winds of fear and despair. The people spoke of entire villages vanishing overnight, of strange and terrifying beasts lurking in the shadows, and of a sorcerer whose very name brought a chill to the bone. Yet none dared to confront him, for they knew the fate that awaited those who crossed the Dark Mage. In the heart of Malakai's tower, a grotesque menagerie began to take shape. Cages of twisted metal and pulsing energy held the captured creatures, their once proud forms now contorted in agony. The sorcerer reveled in their suffering, feeding off their pain and anguish like a glutton at a feast. With each new addition to his collection, Malakai's power grew, and his eyes gleamed with a madness that knew no bounds. Among the creatures enslaved by Malakai was a majestic unicorn named Lumina, her coat once shimmering with the purest white, now dulled by the sorcerer's dark magic. Lumina had been the guardian of an enchanted grove, a sanctuary for the weak and weary, until Malakai's forces had descended upon her home like a plague. Despite her valiant efforts to protect the grove, she had been overwhelmed and captured, her horn now shackled with chains that pulsed with an unholy energy. In the depths of the sorcerer's dungeon, Lumina met Zephyr, a wise and ancient dragon who had once soared through the skies with unrivaled grace. Malakai had coveted Zephyr's scales, believing them to hold the key to immortality. The dragon's wings, once mighty and expansive, now lay tattered and broken, a testament to the sorcerer's cruelty. Yet despite his physical wounds, Zephyr's spirit remained unbroken, and he whispered words of hope to Lumina in the darkness of their shared cell. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Lumina and Zephyr formed an unbreakable bond, their shared suffering forging a connection deeper than any magic. They whispered of a world beyond the sorcerer's grasp, of rolling hills bathed in sunlight and crystal-clear streams that sparkled like diamonds. In those moments of shared dreams, they found solace and the strength to endure the horrors that surrounded them. Malakai, ever watchful, sensed the growing connection between his captives. He knew that hope was a dangerous thing, a spark that could ignite the flames of rebellion. In a fit of rage, he descended upon Lumina and Zephyr, his eyes blazing with a mad fury. With a wave of his hand, he sent bolts of dark energy surging through their bodies, their screams echoing through the dank corridors of the dungeon. Yet even as they writhed in agony, Lumina and Zephyr clung to the hope that had blossomed in their hearts, a hope that one day they would be free. Unbeknownst to Malakai, his cruelty had sown the seeds of his own downfall. For in the depths of the dungeon, whispers of rebellion began to spread among the captive creatures. They spoke of the unicorn and the dragon, of their unwavering spirit in the face of unimaginable suffering. And as the whispers grew louder, the creatures began to plot, their once broken bodies now fueled by a shared purpose, to overthrow the sorcerer and reclaim their freedom. As the seeds of rebellion took root, Malakai grew increasingly paranoid. He stalked the halls of his tower, his eyes darting from shadow to shadow, searching for any sign of dissent. The sorcerer's once meticulous appearance now bore the marks of madness, his hair wild and unkempt, his robe stained with the blood of his latest experiments. The very air around him crackled with a dark, oppressive energy that seeped into the stones of the tower itself. In the depths of the dungeon, Lumina and Zephyr worked tirelessly to rally the other creatures to their cause. They whispered words of encouragement, reminding the captives of the strength that lay dormant within them. Slowly but surely, the creatures began to shed their fear, their eyes gleaming with a newfound determination. They trained in secret, honing their abilities and preparing for the day when they would strike against their oppressor. Malakai, consumed by his paranoia, began to neglect the rituals that sustained his power. The dark energy that once flowed through his veins now sputtered and waned, his spells becoming erratic and unpredictable. The sorcerer's minions, once loyal to a fault, began to question their master's sanity. They whispered among themselves, their doubts growing like a cancer in the heart of the tower. As the tension within the tower reached a breaking point, Lumina and Zephyr knew that the time to act was near. They gathered the creatures in the depths of the dungeon, their voices hushed but filled with a fierce determination. Together they forged a plan, each creature playing a crucial role in the impending uprising. They would strike when Malakai was at his weakest, when the dark energy that fueled his power was at its lowest ebb. On a moonless night, when the shadows seemed to swallow the very light itself, the creatures made their move. Lumina, her horn now free of its shackles, led the charge, her once dulled coat shimmering with a radiant energy. Zephyr, his wings mended by the combined magic of the creatures, soared through the halls of the tower, his roar echoing like a clarion call to arms. The tower itself seemed to tremble as the creatures stormed its corridors, their powers united in a single unstoppable force. Malakai, alerted to the sound of the uprising, rushed to confront the rebellious creatures. His eyes blazed with a mad fury as he beheld the sight of his once obedient slaves now standing defiantly before him. With a roar of rage, the sorcerer summoned the last vestiges of his dark power, the very air around him crackling with malevolent energy. The creatures, undaunted, met his attack head-on, their own magic intertwining in a dazzling display of light and color. The battle that ensued was one of epic proportions, the likes of which the realm had never seen. Lumina, her horn now a beacon of hope, charged at Malakai, her hooves striking the ground with a thunderous force. Zephyr, his maw filled with searing flames, rained down fire upon the sorcerer's minions, their screams of agony lost amidst the chaos of the fight. The other creatures, each wielding their own unique powers, joined the fray, their combined might a force to be reckoned with. Malakai, his power waning, fought with the desperation of a cornered beast. He lashed out with bolts of dark energy, his attacks fueled by hatred and fear. Yet, for every creature that fell, two more seemed to take its place, their determination unwavering in the face of the sorcerer's onslaught. The very foundations of the tower began to crumble, the stones themselves unable to withstand the sheer magnitude of the magical forces at play. In a final, desperate gambit, Malakai summoned the last of his strength, his body contorting grotesquely as he drew upon the very essence of his being. With a scream of agony and fury, he unleashed a wave of pure, unbridled darkness, its tendrils seeking to ensnare the creatures and crush the life from their bodies. Yet even as the shadows closed in, Lumina and Zephyr stood tall, their magic shining like a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. With a final, resounding clash, the battle came to an end. Malakai, his power spent and his body broken, lay defeated at the feet of the creatures he had once enslaved. The tower, now little more than a crumbling ruin, stood as a testament to the sorcerer's hubris and the indomitable spirit of those he had sought to subjugate. As the dust settled, the creatures emerged victorious, their chains broken and their spirits free. They looked to Lumina and Zephyr, their saviors and leaders, and knew that a new era had dawned, one in which the magic of the realm would be a force for good, not evil. In the aftermath of the battle, the creatures emerged from the ruins of the tower, their hearts filled with a mixture of triumph and sorrow. They had won their freedom, but the cost had been high. Many of their brethren lay lifeless amidst the rubble, their sacrifices a testament to the depths of Malakai's cruelty. Yet even in their grief, the creatures knew that their fallen comrades had not died in vain. They had given their lives so that others might live free, and that was a sacrifice that would never be forgotten. Lumina and Zephyr, now leaders of the liberated creatures, set about the task of rebuilding. They journeyed across the realm, seeking out those who had been oppressed and offering them a place in their new society. The unicorn's horn, once a symbol of Malakai's dominion, now served as a beacon of hope, guiding the lost and the weary to safety. Zephyr, his wisdom tempered by the fires of adversity, became a sage advisor, his words a source of comfort and guidance to all who sought his counsel. As the years passed, the realm began to heal. The scars left by Malakai's reign slowly faded, and a new era of peace and prosperity dawned. The creatures, once divided by fear and mistrust, now lived in harmony, their differences celebrated rather than reviled. Lumina and Zephyr, their bond forged in the crucible of shared suffering, ruled with compassion and wisdom. Their love for their subjects a shining example for all to follow. Yet even as the realm flourished, the memory of Malakai's tyranny lingered like a shadow on the edge of consciousness. The creatures knew that they could never allow themselves to become complacent, for evil, like a weed, had a way of taking root in the most unexpected of places. They remained vigilant, ever watchful for the signs of darkness that might threaten their hard-won peace. And so they told the story of their struggle, passing it down from generation to generation, a reminder of the lengths they had gone to secure their freedom and the price they had paid for it. And so the tale of Lumina, Zephyr, and the creatures who had overthrown the dark sorcerer Malakai passed into legend. It became a story of hope and resilience, a testament to the unbreakable spirit of those who had suffered under the yoke of oppression. And though the names of the heroes might fade with the passing of time, their deeds would live on, a shining beacon of light in a world that had once been shrouded in darkness. For in the end it was not the power of magic that had saved the realm, but the strength of the creatures' unity and the indomitable power of their love.